Well, welcome everybody to the second hour of MindShifters Radio. Today's Thursday, October the 2nd, 2025. Welcome Susan, Melissa, Terry. Mike will be with us here in just a second. And for those that were in the codependence, I haven't converted that yet, but I will do it as soon as the show's over. So we will have that information out to the members. The formula for living and being. And at the bottom of it is the YouTube link. There's also a download PDF, so you can do both of those. He edited out and made a 41-minute Aramaic blueprint for living as love. And so that's out there as well. So you can click on those and listen. And we've got Kerry coming in. Welcome, Kerry. Michael hasn't joined us yet, but he'll be with us shortly. How are you doing, Kerry?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
There you are.
Yeah.
I can see your glasses up. So good to see you.
Yeah. How are you doing these days?
Good. I don't have my camera on because I've been out in the garden all morning and I look very tousled.
Oh, we don't care.
And so we've gotten very
grounded. Look is in.
Oh. So I was just saying, because you're in the codependence group, as soon as the show's over, I'll get the notes and the video up for that. So I'll get it out to everybody.
I was going to ask you a favor sometime. There's no rush.
Sure.
If you could send me that one from, it was a radio show, I think, or was it a codependent? No, it was the codependence from Sunday, where I was talking about grief, and then I was talking about love and stuff. And Michael said, "Oh, that was great, and I think you need to go back and listen to that, see where you need to work on grief." That's the one, and I think it was.
Michael just said he thought that was 2 sessions back.
Yeah, it wasn't the last one. It was the one before, for sure. So that's what. Yeah,
the one
Sunday.
Yeah, the one before you gave yourself some great advice.
Yay!
Genius. And isn't it amazing when we can follow our own advice, how smart we are at giving that advice?
I love it.
So do I. It's pretty awesome. So other than that, how do you be?
I'm good. I'm really good, and I've had a couple of intense dreams, not just the black horse one, but then another one last night, and I'm just feeling so happy all the time. I'm like smiling and so happy whatever I've been doing, and been going to some doctor's appointments and getting things dealt with, and I don't have fear around anything. I'm just at peace.
Well, I would suggest you might want to do a worksheet or two on fear.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I really, I know that when people talk about the negative or something, but I really feel at peace. So that's how I'm feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And remember, Shakespeare told us, "My words fly up, my thoughts remain below."
Yeah.
And I don't speak words that aren't firing in brain cells. So I would at least investigate whether or not what you were doing was telling yourself that your next piece of work, the next thing perhaps getting ready to surface because you're at this new level of vitality, is perhaps some old fear. And maybe it's time to take a look. And if you preempt it, it tends, at least what I found, it tends to move more easily than when we draw in something to, really get it rocking and moving. So, maybe it'd be worth just taking a shot, seeing as how the words word was used. Remember the regulatory speech from Laws of Living
Right.
that, we never say a word that isn't about something firing in brain cells. And if I were, and you did precede the whole conversation with, I'm in such happiness. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of fear language sneaks in. So it might be worth taking a look and
Yeah.
see
Okay.
what moves.
Okay. All right. Also, I wanted to ask you about other methods for releasing things rather than doing the forgiveness worksheets. So there's a methodology, QNRT or something, where there's a lot of tapping and a lot of work. Like I had something going on with my daughter a couple years ago, and I went to see Dr. Tim about it, and I did some worksheets on it, and it got better, but it wasn't 100%. And then I went and did this tapping and this QNRT thing, and it's somatic, and the tapping kind of works on all those different places in your body. And
Right.
it's just like everything fell away. My relationship with my daughter is wonderful. And she didn't do any work. I just worked on myself, and in Scotland with her, it was just so warm and loving. And I'm wondering about your thoughts on that, on this physical subconscious release that doesn't have to do with worksheets.
Well, for me, ultimately, the whole process is about forgiveness, and all forgiveness means is remove. So, whatever tool you've got that helps you to remove the energy that's locked in, if it works, go for it, do it. And so, tapping, one of the ideas in the whole quantum still point was to physiologically open up to let that energy move. When I talk about the absent, that's a physical form of forgiveness, removing what doesn't belong. So my take is take every tool you got in your toolbox that works for you and use it. I'm not familiar with that particular form of tapping that you're talking about, but
Well, my chiropractor does it. I can send you some
that's awesome.
information on it.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like to see it. Yeah.
The other thing that he's doing is cymatics and the geometric formations for certain things.
Right.
I got this book by that Egyptian guy, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't. You might remember who it is. Um, who
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, who does all that work on taking sounds and geometric forms to heal the body. And so we looked it up, and it's got different. I have this skin condition, which is why I was so interested in what we were talking about yesterday with Joe.
Right.
And anyway, I'm thinking, that working on worksheets, finding the root of the problem and doing some of these other things in concert is a good thing. So he took the geometry, he's got a special machine which translates the energetic imprint of that geometric form into a bottle of a tincture that I then take.
Right. A homeopathic type remedy.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that can be powerful.
it is, and I've been taking that, and what I've found, it hasn't gone away, yet it has the medication, the steroid medication that I use, instead of every other day, I'm using it every 4 to 5 days, and it's not so virulent. So, and this is something that they say there's no cure for. So I'm I'm really hopeful that using this cymatics in conjunction with other stuff. So now I'm thinking about, okay, you know, what's that underlying thing about these skin conditions? And I don't know how to find that. The
Well,
like
As you
thought
think about
disorder.
it, as you're looking at your own body right now, what's happening with your breath?
It's shallower. It's still happening, and it's
Yeah.
shallower. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the ways to find it, to uncover it, and whether it becomes a cognitive uncovering or just an energetic uncovering, is when the awareness of it comes into your field to allow yourself to breathe into it. For me, that's the master solvent. I don't care what you do. If you're doing tapping or this magic machine or that magic machine, if you're not breathing, you're not healing. Yeah, that's like one of the core ones. So when you notice yourself going to that shallow place, that might take that as a topic, maybe do a worksheet and then do a still point session with it and see what moves.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your, is it a monthly or a weekly breathwork
There's a
group?
monthly, yeah, MindShifters and Still Point Breathing Club that we do once a month. And it's a group of folks we've been meeting now for about, geez, I don't even know, Jeannie, 2 years, 3 years? It's like 1 year is so much the same as the other. And what we do is a Saturday and Sunday once a month. And it's usually the third Saturday and Sunday, although sometimes if somebody can't make it or something's going on, like we've got an intensive coming up, we'll change the dates around, but usually that's it. And we meet Saturday and Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning. And usually Saturday session is about a 3 to 4 hour session. Everybody picks some numbers and does some work on MindShifter prior to gathering on Saturday morning. And then
Oh,
we'll process the MindShifter and what came up, what's up for you, with the idea of stirring. My experience is over the years of working with StillPoint is that whatever untoward energy is moving in the energy field at a point where you breathe, the breath will handle it. It doesn't matter what it is. So we always start and as an intensive, if you remember, we always assign a mind shifter or get people to select a pair of numbers so they pick out a mind shifter and use that to stir things up. And then whatever's stirred, the breath will move. So we'll do some processing around that, and everybody will share. There'll be questions and answers. Gee, this is what's got for me. It's just kind of a sweet community developing around it. Then we'll breathe together. We ask people to set up their cameras so that we can see what's happening with, especially the upper chest and the belly, to keep that moving and support people through breathing. And then we'll finish. We'll do a little bit of processing. Select another pair of mind shifters or another mind shifter that people will write on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then 11 o'clock again on Sunday, we'll do another session. And that usually goes, I don't know, I guess they've been as short as an hour and as long as 3 hours. And it's just a processing question answer, what's up in my world.
so just to
What
confirm, you pick either Saturday or Sunday, or
No, it's Saturday and Sunday.
and Sunday.
We do the breathing on Saturday, and then it's basically take the mind shifter out of the breathing session, work on it right, what happened with dreams, what's coming up, and then we'll do the processing Q&A sharing session on Sunday. So that's what it looks like.
Okay, so I think Jeannie just shared the link, so I'm going to take a look at that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cohesive group.
Is there anybody I know that's in that group?
Let's see. You don't know Tim Johnson. You might. I don't know. Have you ever met Julie Matthews? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think wasn't she at Laws of Living?
She has done Laws of Living. She wasn't at the one that we did here in Virginia.
Okay, so I've probably seen her on calls or something.
And
Yeah.
Terry Bowling and
Terry
Ian
Bowling's
from
in
the
it,
UK and Terry Woods.
From the codependent sessions, Terry shared some last night, so she's part of the group.
Okay.
And then there's a woman out in California that oftentimes joins us, though she's not a full regular member of the group. So
Okay. So I think even though I've, studied breath work and done a lot, I need some third force to get me going. So I think I'm going to sign up for that.
cool.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to have you there. That way, I think you'd gain from it, and you'd be a nice contribution to the group. The group's been together for well over a year, and everybody's kind of gets to know everybody, and it's just really there for each other. It's a pretty tight knit, cohesive community building around that.
Good. Okay.
And I
Sweet.
sent you two
Awesome.
emails. One is with, it was Sunday the 28th that you talked about that. So
Okay.
you should have already had the link, but I resent it.
Thank you.
And then I also sent you the information on the MindShifters.
Okay. Thank you.
Delighted. All right. Any other thoughts? Breath moving?
Yeah. Good.
Joining you and letting that flow. And let me share another piece of the puzzle that I've discovered with, I'm doing for the last year or more, now that we're settled here, we're not going far. I usually do an hour to 3 hours of still point. I always go to sleep doing still point. And in the morning, I usually do anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. And one of the things I've discovered is that when I'm getting to subtler places in my own structure, the breath is so subtle. It isn't any more than just it can go down to, and it seems like, gee, you're hardly breathing. But as long as my best observation over 40 plus years of taking people through still point is that it isn't about the depth of the breath. It isn't about the speed of the breath. It's the fact that it's connected.
Okay.
And so can get, instead of pushing it, I found there are times like when I got into that interface that I shared the other day, that came from breath that was no more than, each in and out breath was just a fraction of a second. But that's how I got into that space. So maybe just allow yourself to experiment with this, doing really subtle breathing, and for me, the energy behind doing that subtle breath is just getting everything still and quiet while the breath's still moving. Where if I'm really, if you're really breathing well, there's a fair bit of energy moving. But as long as that breath is connected, the subtlest places can open through it. So
That's beautiful. And I used to have a community around me when I was training with Sandra Ray, and we would get together once a week on a Sunday at my house and breathe. And everybody's moved away since then. So it's good to have that. I was talking about community before, and I think it's great that you're creating community around the still point breathing and, around your radio show and around all these things. I think community is so important, and having people that we can talk to that support the work that we're doing, not just relying on you and Jeannie all the time, and
right.
Like Susan's group is so wonderful, and I love that group, and it's so warm and accepting. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah,
It's literally the definition from the Aramaic. It literally is the community of love. That's what the kingdom of heaven is. It's what we're all designed to be a part of, is that connected space. Just being human with each other is just, pretty amazing that we get the opportunity to have a human life.
Yeah.
Just that is like, wow, you look at all the universe and all the critters in the world, and we get to have a human life. How cool is that? And if you
Michael?
would, there is a 1 second. If you would, there's a note from Donald in the chat room, and he's thinking he might be moving back to Chicago, and he'd like the name of your chiropractor, if you wouldn't
Yeah,
mind putting that in there.
my chiropractor does mainly homeopathic. He does kinesthetic energy testing. He is amazing.
I texted you Don's phone number so you can text him back.
If you share him with him that information, or if you want to put it in the chat, maybe there's somebody else in the Chicago area that would like to have it.
That's great.
That somebody who's capable at that sort of support is worth their weight in gold for sure.
They are, and they're some of the only people in the country that do all those cutting edge things. He's great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very lucky.
All right. Well, any other thoughts for you?
No, I feel complete. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, Miss Susan B.
I
How are you,
wanted to,
young lady?
I'm okay, thanks. I wanted to catch you before you went too far from the breathing thing to explain. You said you do this, what, micro breathing, a tiny, tiny split-second intake and out blow, or?
Yes.
Wow.
Very subtle. It's like almost no energy. If someone's observing, they might even wonder if I'm breathing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, for me, what I've discovered. I mean, if stuff's up for me, I'm going to be breathing. So sometimes Jeannie will give me a shake in the night and say, Michael, you're doing a Darth Vader breath. So sometimes if something big is up and moving for me and I feel like I need to move a lot of energy, I'll definitely put some energy into it. But what I've found is getting into that subtler space, like, when I spoke of entering the Holy of Holies. That's, just the very slightest. And the key to it is that it just stays connected.
As you talk about that, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's one of the keys. It's just, and I'm working to translate or understand how to put something into words that I don't really have words for, but that's the best thing I can say is that if there's not something coarse or gross, intense, moving in me physiologically, mentally, emotionally, I'm just doing that practice. Then I've found that, when Yeshua says go into the closet and close the door, it's almost like the breath is closed down. But it's not. It's just very subtly connected. Tiny breaths. I've found for me and my physiology are what have taken me into those subtlest places and the sweetest places.
Very interesting. Okay.
Tell me, is that been your experience? Has that been part of what you've been doing when you've been doing your breath work?
No, in fact, hearing you talk about taking tiny breaths, I had to sit up straight and gasp for air.
Oh, ouch.
I thought I was going to die from not being able to take in air. So this is a very interesting thing. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like with the still point, you've really been breathing, and energetically, resistance. My take is what a still point is it's literally physiologically letting go of Satan. Satan in Aramaic being the resistor, one who misleads. Letting go of all resistance within the body. And when that occurs, it's like the breath isn't needed. That's where the still point happens. And I've seen people go into a still point and their lips turn a little blue and it's like, are you coming back? And I've never lost anybody, but I've found that that's where a still point happens, is where there's actually been a seemingly sufficient amount of breath that it's not needed for that time period of the still point. But this is different in that it's just a very subtle movement, and that's all that's needed. And it's something that has come after doing more of a regular still point session. It's like
I see.
something that I've, from experience, fallen into at the tail end of what I would consider to be a more regular still point session where I'm putting more energy into my breath.
I'm wondering if there's any similarity to these massively amazing. There's a swimmer. My son was talking about a woman who will swim under ice for 2 minutes, holding her breath, and
Right.
and come up, to get air. And she's desperate for air by then, but she has the capacity, obviously, to take in enough air at the start so she has a reserve and she can also exert herself because she's swimming under the ice. Is there any connection or any? I'm just trying to get my mind around it because I've been resisting a lot with
I
doing
have
still
never
point.
noticed that.
No, I know you've never noticed.
Well, one of the things I can guarantee you is I will never experientially understand what she's doing.
Hmm.
I won't be going there, but
Good.
it's just, I'm just taking a breath and sort of feeling it in my structure. And it seems like part of it is a state of resting
Hmm.
that isn't using any energy. So perhaps not as much oxygen is needed. I'm just,
Yeah, that sounds
sort of
right.
tapping into that now,
Hmm.
that, there's no exertion in it. And it's the subtlest, quietest place where that moves. And I think you should come and do the uh, intuitive development intensive and do the 3-day quantum still point while you're here.
You mean physically down there?
Mm-hmm. That would be the only way to do it. Yeah.
I agree.
Quiet, Kerry.
That
I
was
don't want
Sally.
anybody ganging up on me.
That was
Nobody will
Sally.
gang up. You'll get nothing but support.
It
That will
was
be it.
it was Sally.
Oh, Sally. Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. Sorry, I thought it was Kerry. Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
can
yeah.
I have a thought to add in as a swimmer, and also I've done a good deal of time in a Taoist community,
Mm-hmm.
and we do practice different breathing techniques in
Mm-hmm.
Taoism, and one of them is the breath, similar to what Michael described with these like micro sips of breath,
Mm-hmm.
and then being able to know that that's enough till the
Mm-hmm.
next little sip. It's a mind, it's a lot about the mind and the
Oh, it is.
physiology. So it's connection. When I'm swimming in open water, if there's the slightest bit of fear that comes into my consciousness, say I meet a big fish,
Mm-hmm.
my breath, everything will get interrupted, my
Mm-hmm.
flow, my stroke, my everything, until I regain. I would use maybe the word mastery, but I'm not sure that's the right word. I regain equilibrium within myself so that my physiology can continue to go into that steady, smooth breath that we learn as a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to the still point breathing that I will get to do at the intensive, because I will be going, at least to the best of my knowledge. I always say what we say here in the Midwest, God willing and the creek don't rise.
Yeah.
It really fits. Like my entire life is God willing and the creek don't rise. But I I will be there and I will be enjoying the
experience of learning more about the power of the breath. So I wanted to chime in because personally, I would love to have you there. Sue. I would love, love, love to have you there.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. I can
True.
I can feel all kinds of resistance. A memory of nearly smothering in a bed when I was a kid. I mean, give me
That's
air, give
something you
me
want to
air.
breathe out of your body, but that's something you want to breathe out of your body. That's a body memory, a body sensation
Hmm.
that fear keeps you locked out of, which
Hmm.
means it's there 24/7, 365. You
Mm.
know that old saying, the
Yeah.
coward dies once, or the brave die once, the coward 1,000 times. You face it, you hold it, you embrace it once, and you're done with it.
Hmm.
As opposed to, notice just when you think about it, how does your system contract or open when you think about it?
Well, and then you add to that, reading about Alzheimer's and how we need oxygen in the brain cells and how non-exercising and all this sort of thing encourages the loss of a viable brain. I have a lot of stuff in there about this. Nearly drowning once. Yeah.
Mm.
So
So that's another experience. You want to breathe out of your structure, the energy of that experience.
I'm breathing
That's
around.
why. That's why to do the still point. That's why to go to the place where, wherever that's locked in physiologically, you take your breath to that lock and you unwind it and let the energy loose of it. Because it's the holding of the breath that literally binds that energy on a tissue level.
And there's a whole other thing there, Michael. It's just a
What's that?
whole other thing. I remember going to the retreat at,
Heartland?
Heartland. Even the name went out. And someone, and I don't know if it was you, but I thought it was you and I was afraid to look. You're a big guy in my life. You know the stuff. So I'm lying there doing what I'm hoping to do is still point breathing. And I think
Right in front of the window, I remember.
you do. So it was you. So I was doing it to the best of my ability and in spite of lots of resistance beginning to get, and then someone's hands came onto my forehead or my head, and I was so touched that someone would bother. I know this sounds so incredibly dramatic, but I was amazed that this person who's leading this workshop would come over to me and do that. So I was doing a lot of processing about feeling amazed and honored and stymied and frightened that this would be happening. So the still point sort of went out the window. I think then it became mechanical. I just kept trying to do it.
Mm. So it sounds like an issue of deserving came up, that
Well, it's also just
you,
family culture. We didn't do that sort of thing.
mm,
And it was,
uh,
yeah, I don't, yeah, maybe. Anyway,
so maybe this time you could just allow that, oh, that's what we do. We're here to support and touch each other and be touched, and it's safe for that to happen, and I can gently open and let myself receive that, instead of, oh, if we were touched and hurt.
wow, I didn't connect that, but that's true because that's how we were touched. Okay, well, thanks. That's a
So
lot to think about.
that would be a space that I would recommend, just allowing yourself to get into that quietness
Mm.
and let yourself embrace that hurt, because the
This,
imprint of it energetically is still in your physiology, and you can remove it. I mean, you can totally, completely remove that imprint.
is that really true? That
Absolutely,
it's in there?
2000%. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, think about it. How could you remember it if it wasn't there?
but sure, I can remember it, but that doesn't mean it's,
Well, you couldn't remember if it wasn't there. There would be nothing to remember. Like, break the word down. Reconnect, remember.
mm,
If it weren't there, there would be nothing to remember.
but I'm not going to forget it after that.
Well, here's my offering is what happens is rather than experiencing it out of contraction and pain,
I see.
once you breathe into it and let it soften, you experience it out as you still experience it as a memory, but you experience it out of a space of connectedness and love, and it holds no power anymore. In hiding, its power is still a power over you because all of the energetic dynamics. Remember the quote that I read from Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr, yeah, Niels Bohr, where he talks about, I'm a physicist. I've spent my life studying matter, and it doesn't exist.
Mm,
What he posits is that, and this is the guy who won the Nobel Prize in Physics
mm,
for discovering quantum theory, is that, remember his words were, an intelligent spirit generates an energy that pulls in the atoms to form this, or the electron, or the electron particles that form this atom that we call
mm.
matter. That there has to be something to hold that together. And
I
if what's
love
holding
that.
it together is the generational trauma and pain, then yeah, who wants to go and touch it? But if it's there 24/7, 365, having its impact, why not go in and embrace it fully, bring it to the presence of love so that the intelligent spirit that holds the trauma pattern there
Mm.
says, oh, I can embrace this trauma pattern and be done with it.
It has a lot of, it's like an octopus. It's affecting
Yeah.
a lot of parts of my life. When is this workshop? No promises. Just give me the information.
November 14th, I think, 14th to the
Oh,
22nd,
coming right up.
next month.
Wow. November
Yeah,
14th.
November 14th to the 22nd.
Down in Bristol?
Uh-huh. Actually, about 15 minutes up the road in the town of Abingdon, Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the info. I'll think about it. I will think about it.
Okay, cool. Otherwise, one of these days I'm going to get in the car and drive up there and do it.
Wow. Well, one last question. I've asked you this before. I understand why you open your mouth and you try to shut down your brain by not breathing through the nose. So by that, you're saying it's not possible to do still point breathing through the nose.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
Okay,
It's just
good.
that you remember that one of my, and it sounds kind of tongue in cheek, but it really isn't tongue in cheek. I'm 1000% serious. To heal, you've got to be out of your mind.
I understand. Yeah, I remember you
So,
saying that.
so if the mind of man, the mind of physiology, the mind that Yeshua talked about John having, that
Mhm.
was the highest among those born of women, carbon-based memory, but the least in the kingdom, if that mind is based in the functioning of our brain and the brain being oxygenated and active, then instead of breathing through the nasal passages and keeping that thing oxygenated and fired up all the time, kind of backing off it a little bit and just letting it quiet down is one of the keys to letting loose of the interpretations that it gives based in generational patterns of doom cough, of stuff that isn't true. But if the family system lives as though this is true, then to the family system it's true,
Mm.
but it's not true. It's just true because we hold it that way. And if I'll let myself open the veil of my temple and let what I'm hiding in there come out
Mm,
in the presence of breath. I mean, this is literally, you go to the creation story. God didn't send us spirit. It's the creator's breath. That's literally what it is. And you can trust it. I mean, I've walked thousands of people through or laid down and breathed thousands of people over the last 40, I'm not even sure, probably close to 50 years ago that I discovered the still point process.
mm,
And I can say that 100% of the time. And that's why I use a mind shifter every time before we do a still point session. I get people to pick numbers and select a mind shifter and get things resonating
yeah.
because whatever trauma, whatever crazy is moving, if people will breathe through it, they will get a nervous system and a physiological shift that frees them of that trauma, at least to the
Mm.
level of vitality that they're able to handle the energy of that trauma.
Oh,
And it's like you can trust that you can count on it. It's just what it does. That's what the breath of God does. That's what Ruka Dakuja does. And the denial of her leaves us stuck with whatever energies are locked in tissue. They can't be forgiven. They can't be removed. But with the breath, I don't care what it is. It's like 1000% reliable. If you'll open it, it will go. That's all.
wow.
Doesn't mean around this issue that I'm finished with it yet. I can trace back where some of the issues in my life, decades ago I was doing breath work, and it's just, in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years that I've finished up in full with that issue.
Wow.
But you can count on it. You can trust. Literally, you can trust Ruka Dakucha to move whatever you can open. And I just say that from observing. I mean, I've had a practice in South Florida back years ago, and basically, I work 3 days a week. I start at 7 in the morning before people went to work. I do my first session for people to be to work at 9 or whatever. And then every 2 hours, I would do a still point session with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter what they came in with. It didn't matter what kinds of crazy had gone on in their lives. And
Mm.
I've seen some crazy. But if one will let go and really let that breath move, there will be a nervous system shift every time. And you can take that to the bank.
Mm. Well, I've been really successful in jury rigging my healing without doing still point, but I will think about this.
I think you would, if you made the choice to trust it, you would find well, just a major leap.
Mm. Well, it's also enticing. The timing isn't exactly right, but it's a week before Thanksgiving. And my son is in Charlottesville, Virginia, and he's been saying, come down. And I don't go
Ah,
down. You can't get there from here. It's a long drive and, anyway, so if I were already down there, I might
it would be easier.
not go home yet.
Yes,
Anyway,
it's a sign. It's a sign.
shut up, Sally.
I
Oh, yeah.
love it. I love it. See your son, and there's an airport nearby, everything. So I hope you can. And if you can't, we'll be carrying you with us and
Oh, that's very
breathing
nice.
with you. And I'm in the mood lately of not robbing myself of any other potentially freeing experiences. So
Yeah.
I had to share.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Well, one of the other things about this 9 day, when we do, like, for instance, a 9 day, why is this happening to me again? Or any of the others except for this one, we schedule one still point breathing session. this is the only intensive where it's scheduled for 2 still point breathing sessions. So you'll get to do that. And then if you stay the extra couple of days to do the quantum still point, then it will take it all to the next level.
So 14 through 22 is the whole deal, including the breathing.
14 through 22 includes, that's the
Yeah.
intuitive development intensive, and includes 2 still point breathing sessions as part of
Okay.
that 9-day intensive.
And we're all together when we do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. There's a really nice facility. It's actually a Catholic retreat center
nice.
that has really nice spacious rooms and a beautiful living room type setting,
Mhm.
huge setting for the workshop, and, food facilities and such. Urate is going to be
Urate.
coming to do the food.
Oh, she is. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Well, Michael, when you talk about doing 2 or 3 hours of still point breathing, I think you're Martha lying on the bed and Jeannie's, and you're Mary lying on the bed and Jeannie's running around being Martha. I want to support Jeannie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to
Yeah.
support Jeannie too. I
So
can't
do
wait
I.
to see. I know. I can't wait to see. Urate is a big pull. Jeannie's a big pull. And, I keep telling myself, if nothing more than I can reconfigure my diet, and enhance my breathing, I'm on a roll. So I'm excited.
One of the things we do is we do the personal code evaluation, and one of the scoring frameworks on the personal code evaluation is nutrition, is what goes on with the body in terms of digesting food.
Mhm.
And one of the participants that was here, we've always done the fresh and raw dietary regimen, and Urate has brought in this nutritarian diet, which was created by an MD up in New York. And one of the participants, she's not on the show today, she usually is, or I'm sure she put her hand up, but one of the participants has kept up eating via that nutritarian fashion. And she came to do the quantum still point about 2 months after the intensive. And part of the quantum still point is doing the personal code evaluation as well. And in 2 months, which I've never seen before, she had a 20-point shift in her nutrition scores on the evaluation, which was pretty amazing.
Mm.
I've never seen that big a shift in that short a period of time, especially if people aren't in intensive. She left the intensive and had scores, and then when before the quantum still point did another evaluation, it's like, holy man, 20 points. Whoa, that's pretty significant.
Okay, and one last thing, Michael. I know this is
Go for it.
you said something about this great scientist who discovered quantum physics and got a Nobel
Yes.
Prize. And he said something about the mind the mind of God, we're calling it, drawing the atoms into their configuration, bringing them to life that way, or something like that. Could you say again
Right.
what that was?
Give me 1 second here. And I am going to the quote. Max Planck.
Oh, yeah.
And here's what he says. Just 1 second. Yeah, it was Planck, not.
I thought it was somebody beginning with B.
Just 1 second here. One of the quotes I've got, along with his quotes, comes from Horace Mann. And I thought this was pretty cool. He says, "Be ashamed to die unless you have won some small battle for humanity."
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a pretty cool way of saying get off your butt and do your work. Oh, this thing is not cooperating.
The reason I ask is because when I was up with my niece cleaning out her brother's house, we talked about the fact that the universe to her was like if you have a big bang and then you have infinite amount of time. And if you have infinite amount of time, you can have the entire libraries in the world in every language, all the books flawlessly printed out. It can happen because infinity is long enough. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Why would something choose to organize just because there's enough time? And so what you quoted was like, there it is. It's the pulling in of the materials to create everything and up to conscious sentient beings. You don't have to
Makes
find it.
sense. No,
Yeah.
I've got it. I've got it. So here's what he says, and I'll put it in the chat room. In all my research, I have never come across matter. To me, the term matter implies a bundle of energy which is given form by an intelligent spirit.
Mm-hmm.
As a man who's devoted his whole life to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter, I can tell you, as a result of my research about atoms, this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom into vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force is the existence of a conscious, or, and I put a little added in there, or an unconscious replicant mind, the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter.
That's gorgeous. I
That's
might
pretty
send,
powerful.
that was Max Planck, you said.
That was Max Planck, yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to fiddle around until I can find it and send it to my niece. Because
Okay.
she's,
Well,
you
it
know,
is there. It is now in the
oh my
chat room.
God. There goes Jeannie. She gets the Nobel Prize. Oh, you did it.
I did.
Thank you. Well, she still gets the Nobel Prize.
Oh,
Okay.
no question.
She is
By the way,
beyond.
speaking of Martha, I do at least half the meals around here. So
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
it's not full Martha. I do my share.
Okay. Well, you know, even Jeannie comes on early and she says, well, Jeannie used to say, well, Michael hasn't dialed in yet. And I thought, this is like the old fashioned hierarchical office situation. You've got the receptionist who keeps people calm and makes them wait until the big cheese enters.
Well, actually, it's oftentimes the opening that she opens the space.
Yeah, she does.
Yes. So I also just texted you. Oh, oops, I missed one letter in his name, but I texted you that quote.
Yes, and is that the one text? Because it says there are two. No, that was, the other one was Jeannie. Okay, I'm gonna put this where I can keep it. Paste. All right. Thanks,
Cool.
that's great.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for those thoughts and questions, answers, ideas. And we've got about 4 minutes left. So is there anybody out there with a thought to share? Melissa, I see you're with us. If you'd care to share anything about your question yesterday, I think it's just so profoundly important. The insights you're getting and the fact you were willing, your willingness is huge. Go for it.
I don't really know. I mean, other than just that it's just been amazing, I guess, that, I mean, how my body's just talking to me. I mean, once you told me just to really kind of listen with the pain, just kind of listen and ask what it's trying to tell me, how much it's telling me, how much, now that I'm listening to it, it's just giving me a bundle of information that I
Right.
I didn't realize how much was bothering me. Not only, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Not only small stuff that I maybe didn't realize what was bothering me, but even I'm realizing how much bigger stuff that I had already done worksheets on and thought I kind of had dealt with. It's giving me information that maybe made me think of how you'll say you have to have the eyes to see something. It's
Right.
kind of making me realize that maybe now I am able to see something in a different way. I mean, if that makes sense.
Right.
One, I'll give just a quick example because I don't have a lot of time, but like many years back, someone hit me, and they hit me so hard that when they hit me on one side of my face, the other side of my face hit the hardware. Well, they don't know, hit a brick wall, and it fractured the side of my face. And years back, I had done worksheets and I had done some stuff over that, but it was all focused more on getting past the event and maybe getting past the anger and bitterness I felt towards that person and all that. And I thought I'd put all that past me and everything. And then this last time with talking to the pain in my arm and everything and all that, I've realized that I never had dealt with how I felt towards myself, really, that I allowed that to happen, the anger in myself, that event actually did to me and what it took away from me, I guess. And maybe now I just now finally have the eyes to see that I need to deal with that now.
Take it to the
the
next
wounds
level.
in me, I guess, from that,
Right. Well, let's lay a foundation so that everybody knows, at least the regulars on the show know what we're doing. Those who were on the show back, it was probably 10 days ago that Melissa called in, and she was having pain in her arm. And remember, you gave everybody instructions on how to do the ortho-bionomy. And so Melissa had contacted me yesterday and says, I've been doing that ortho-bionomy and it's just opened up. So you take it from there so people know what's, the way you described this relationship that had gone on for 30 years and your body just taking you back through every event that you hadn't fully dealt with just by doing the ortho-bionomy on your arm. I mean, it's opening up the gateway to what needs to be dealt with. This is so powerful.
Yeah, it opened up. I mean, I just started, like you had told me to just ask what did I need to deal with? And it opened up just a whole thing. I started writing, and like I told you, I started writing and wrote for like a good hour, maybe longer than that. Just started writing about and it just started telling me what I need to deal with. And yesterday I said 30 years. It was actually almost 40, which I didn't realize that until later, how long it actually been. It's been like 38 years. And I just started writing, and it kind of just told me everything. And I've been working on them. And as I work on them, I just feel better and better. But then I turn around and I get more pain and more thoughts. And I mean, I'm just, like I said, I'm in immense pain and I'm going through a lot, but my body's just throwing stuff at me right and left. As long as I keep saying, give me more, it's giving me more. And it's, like I said, it's been a horrible, painful experience. And I've got my doctors trying to convince me I might have lupus or multiple sclerosis or rheumatoid arthritis and all this other junk they're throwing at me, which I don't believe. And, I'm ignoring them. I'm going to them because I originally started out going to them. But I don't believe any of that stuff. And I think I can just heal myself or whatever by doing this. But it's just been an amazing experience because I'm feeling better and better emotionally, even though I'm going through so much pain. But it's, I guess, like you said, I'm going through a healing crisis, maybe, and it's just
well, you've
been
opened the veil.
And, yeah,
you've opened
awesome
the veil that has kept things shut down for so long.
Yeah, and like I said, it's horrible in some ways, but it's been amazing in other ways. I feel like $1,000,000 in some ways, you know. And as I'm dealing with these things, some of them I'm doing worksheets, others I'm just thinking about and just kind of waving to as it goes away. And
Right.
I
Nice.
just feel relieved. You know, it's just amazing, and and like you were saying earlier to somebody saying about just using the tools you have, and as I'm doing these, it's just going away and feeling so much better. And so, I mean, I encourage anybody to just, even if you think something's behind you, as you, I don't know if advance is the word for it, but as your eyes open more and more, you know, just be open to the fact that maybe when you thought you had dealt something, maybe as you get more open, you might see something differently, I guess. Because like I said, there's things I thought I had put behind me. And even some stuff with my dad came up that I thought I was long put behind, that now I'm looking at saying, well, maybe, you know, now I look at it, now I can look at a few things and say, maybe now I can stop and go, I hadn't dealt with how I felt as a little girl who got hit, rather than just forgiving my dad, and not really forgiving my dad. I guess that's not the way to phrase it. But instead of looking at it, anyway, I'm just seeing things differently, and it's a good thing.
Well, and you know,
So,
you've reached a new level of vitality, a new level of willingness. So layers and levels that your body had shut down long ago are safe enough to open and move, and that's the objective of the work. You know, again, go back to Yeshua. The veil of the temple must be rent in twain. The veil of the temple is not a purple curtain in the church. The temple is your body. The veil is the barrier between the subconscious and the unconscious mind. When you open that, what's been hiding in the unconscious all of a sudden starts to become available. And you know, as we've said many times, it's not Dr. Feelgood, but on the other side of it, it sure is.
yeah, and it is a feel good. Spiritually, it's a feel great. Physically, it's a feel horrible, but spiritually, at the same time, it's a feel great. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know.
Cool.
So,
Awesome.
anyway,
And you know that it's not an oncoming train, right?
yeah, yeah. I used to always think it was, but
Yeah.
now now that I feel the way I do, I just always know it's something great. So
Awesome. Well, nice work, Ed lady. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we are definitely breathing with you and holding the space.
thank you. I always feel that from all of you guys, and that's a good
You
feeling.
got it. You absolutely got
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Blessings. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Create the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. Take care. Bye-bye.